Hello and welcome. Today we're going to look at a new book that I've just read. Well, not new, but new to me. It is Cheaper by the Dozen. So I just read through this, so I thought I'd give you a quick review on it. And this can be book 2 in our series. So please note that all my commentary I provide is my own personal view of the story. Some of it might not be accurate, but it's the way that I saw it or the way I understood it. And so that's the way that I've described it for you today. I'll try to be as correct as possible, though. So with Cheaper by the Dozen, I have seen the new movie in 2003, but I had no idea that it was based on a true story, in fact. This book was actually written by two of the dozen kids in 1948, and it details the early life of the Gilbreth family. So right here on the back, we have two right here. We have Frank and Ernestine down there. Those are two of the kids from the dozen that actually wrote this book about their family. It has 19 chapters. It's spaced really well, 237 pages. I was more enthusiastic with my reading with this one, so I got through it in about 3 days. However, on average, probably a week would work. We follow Mr. Gilbreth, who's the father, and Mrs., and of course all the kiddos in the 1900 to 1920s era. Frank Gilbreth, our daddy, is an efficient expert in the labor industries, and he specialized in scientific management and motion study along with his wife. So I actually looked them up, and they are indeed were scientists, and they have several articles and stuff written about them. This book covers their interesting, often humorous adventures in the mid-1920s. Mr. Gilbreth would often carry his efficiency expertise into his home life, often being a strict disciplinarian with his kids. They had to be kind of with 12 kids, had to keep them in order. Mr. Gilbreth would often take moments of the day teaching his kids valuable life lessons and skills that they would take with them throughout life. And that reminds me of my own father growing up. Fortunately, he is still alive, but all the stories that he would share with me and all the little moments of inputting knowledge into me, either on vacation or driving around or walking on a walk, it would always be something that he would be educating me with, and so hopefully I can carry that on to my kids when I have them. Because education is important in those little bits. I have many fond memories of that, so I felt I really related to the characters while reading this book. It was written from the children's perspective, of course, the two on the back that I showed you, and the first mention of the title was on page 22, where the father said "Cheaper by the Dozen" while driving the car right there on the front cover at a stop sign. I had fun keeping track of all 12 kids' names, and the last name was listed on page 150. More than halfway through the book, they finally mentioned the 12th child's name. So all the children's names were Anne, Frank Jr., Ernestine. The last two were the ones that wrote the book. Lillian, Martha, Jack or John, Fred, Mary, Bill, Bob, Jane, and Dan. Those are all 12 kids. So in the interesting facts, in the 1920s, makeup was referred to as paint, so you paint your face. Just an interesting little side note there. The book spawned two films, one in 1950 and the other one I mentioned earlier in 2003. Ernestine, I'm going to flip this book around. So Ernestine right here on the bottom. She lived to a ripe old age of 98 and passed away, unfortunately, in 2006, while Frank Jr. there on top died at 89 in 2001. This was a very good book, filled with lots of great humor that I found myself chuckling a lot at. Definitely a keeper for me. This is going to go right back on the shelf, maybe to look at in the future. Thanks for watching my review. If you are interested in reading this book, not watching this book, but reading this book, feel free to pick it up. I'm sure it's available anywhere. And thanks for watching.